Everyone has a dream of beating the system. So the question is, can you beat the system? The answer is yes. You can make your life better. And we're going to talk about specifically how, and we're going to break down that whole idea on tonight's live chat. First is, what is the system? The system is a society structure of rules, laws, regulations, or other means to control the population or structure the population. So the first way people fail in life is they just bitch and moan about the system. But what they don't realize is no matter where you go in the world, no matter what country you go to, everywhere there is a system of rules, regulations, etc. And if there isn't, that place, wherever it is on earth, it's the wild, wild west. It's lawless. It's dangerous. It's not economically feasible unless you're a complete tyrant and willing to murder. So don't begrudge a system per se. Many ignorant, uneducated people just blame system with a blank mind without giving it some thought. Okay. Now, I will say reforming the system is wisdom, and that's a never-ending process. And I believe in reform. I push for it. I vote based on reforms I feel the system should have. But don't get caught in step one. Step one in beating the system is not waiting for the system to change, okay? It's not waiting for there to be no system, because you'll be waiting until the day you die. You'll be miserable. You'll be blaming till the day you die. You'll blame everything else. You won't take accountability for your life. You won't move forward. Now, that'll lose a certain amount of percent of people to turn the video off, and that's good, because the second step to pushing forward in life is, once you've taken accountability, eliminating the bullshit. Eliminating the bullshit people, the bullshit mindset, the bullshit eating habits, the bullshit spending habits. How do you beat the system? Now that we get into the details on how to do it, once we have a mindset that's right, is you have to live below your means. That's step one. Okay. What does that mean? That means your income is higher than your expenses. Okay. How is that beating the system? Well, when I'm talking about beating the system, I'm not talking about breaking rules, breaking laws. I'm talking about navigating around obstacles that will get you trapped in a system that, even if it's not evil, it's based on control or not having your greatest life, your best life. No such thing as a perfect life. If you're waiting for a perfect life, you'll be waiting for heaven, if it even exists. And therefore, you're going to waste your time here, and you're going to make yourself suffer more. And many people, most people, are in the business of misery loves company. I'm going to suffer, so I'm just going to destroy my life in the meantime. And they're their worst enemy. To beat the system or to navigate around the pitfalls of the system, you're going to have to be at your A game. You're going to have to be of sober mind. Sober mind. Remember, alcohol is a poor man's opioid. Remember, weed is a legal way to numb the psychopaths. Remember, guys, that pain management is not beating the system. Now, my mom's on pain management. She's 70 years old with two bad knees, or 72 years old. So take what I'm saying in context. But for those of a certain mindset that want to live their best life, this is who I'm talking to. Okay. So as you live below your means, your income is greater than your expenses. You track your expenses like a hawk. Not that you're a cheap bastard that you circle the Dollar Tree and you buy useless shit. Because never forget, 90% of what is in the Dollar Tree is useless shit. Okay? Useless. Okay? So if you're waiting for something in the Dollar Tree to change your life, you are not going to beat the system. Okay? The Dollar Tree, or any place, Walmart or the Coach store, doesn't matter. Any place that you purchase something, the purchase should have a purpose in your life and should enhance your life. Okay? So you beat the system by not becoming a numb consumer. 70% of the US economy is based on consumerism. And people consume more than the essentials. They consume things to make them happy. So if you're going to beat the system, what you have a mindset of, you are buying things not to artificially make you happy, but to enhance a life that helps you to live beyond the controls of society. Okay. Everything you buy should have a purpose, a plan, and enhance your life. Now, again, if you have children, again, if you have pets, if you're in a relationship, you should not be a cheap ass. You should enjoy spoiling one another and sharing the fruits of your labor with one another. I'm a middle-aged man who had a dog. I did that. I had relationships. I did that. I'm talking about as a single person, how I choose to live life. So beating the system, well, you'll definitely get trapped in the system if you have kids and too many. Because once you have kids, once you have too much debt, you're in the system and you're not going anywhere, and that's okay. But what I would share with you is the next step is eliminating debt. Okay. Debt is a means to control the population. It's voluntary placement. Okay. Every time you take on debt, you ensure that you are going to be obligated to someone or something, and bank, a person, doesn't matter, and you're going to have to work to pay off that debt. You're going to be stationary, locked in to a certain lifestyle. Even if you roam as a nomad, debt makes you create a lifestyle. Why? Because now your income has to match your debt levels. And your income is your job, and you have less choices on what to do with your job the greater your amount of debt. The only thing you should own, in my opinion, is the roof over your head. Now, for me to beat the system, what I chose to do was to make my transportation, my car, my home, and my transportation. So I killed two birds with one stone. Why? Because I'm trying to beat the system in a healthy, legal way. It's legal to live in your car. Okay. It's illegal to park in front of someone's house and sleep there at night. Okay. There's campgrounds, there's rest areas, there's truck stops, there's etc. You know, you can Google all that. Plenty of people have done videos on it. But your housing cost is a huge part of the system. Mortgage comes from the word death pledge. Why? Because once you sign on for a mortgage, you're guaranteeing you're staying in a certain location and you have to pay a certain amount of your income to that bank obligationary note. And then even when you pay off your debt, like I said, I heard someone yesterday say they spend $250 a month for their electric bill alone in the summer. Okay. To beat the system, you have to get rid of bad habits. I talked a little bit about it with alcohol, with weed. Again, you should do whatever you want. Those things are legal. It's legal to drink alcohol. It's legal to do weed in most states. It's legal to live in your car. So again, this is my mindset and what I'm speaking about tonight. And what I can tell you is you have to be a very clear mind to beat the system. Okay. Because what you're trying to do is get around a lot of the things in life that the lazy person gets trapped in, and that's the right word. There's no way you beat the system and lazy. And when I say lazy, okay, I'm not talking about everyone's lazy. People on Wall Street are lazy. That's why they trade stocks, because they don't want to work. So a lot of times when I say lazy, people automatically think of someone in low-income housing beating the system. However, I know hedge fund managers, algorithm traders, they're lazy. They never worked a day in their life. They have inherited hand-me-down money. They trade stocks with and they lose. So guys, look, come on. But summoning up energy only comes when you don't take downers. Beer is a downer. Weed is a downer. Now, I don't think you should take uppers, whether that's Coke or whatever you would take. I believe that if you harness your energy is the most valuable thing you have in your favor. And some people are higher energy, lower energy, whatever. Okay. But everyone has some energy. Okay. So what you have to learn to do is manage, harness, and direct your energy. Why? Because we're all in a race in the system, 24 hours. That's how much we have. Everyone has the same amount of time per day. So who tends to kind of win the race or beat the system? It's the people who manage their time the most effectively. I remember I heard someone say one time, it was a little bit negative, but I thought it had some value in the statement. They basically said a poor person never looks at their watch, meaning that a diligent person is conscious of their time. Okay. I remember sitting my fat, lazy ass when I had a townhome in a community pool. And a young girl came in there. We started talking. And it was a Saturday. I was just sitting there. I spend all day in the pool. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I spent like 8 hours in that pool. And this one girl, she was very in shape. I was very obese at that time. She came in the pool. She looked at her watch. She did some swimming laps. She was there for about a half hour, 45 minutes. We had a brief conversation. She looked at her watch and she said, Sam, it's great seeing you. I'm going to go do X, Y, Z. And it was the first time I had a visual connection to someone who looked at their watch and then made decisions based off time. For some reason, I never kind of put that together. Of course, when you're in school, okay, and I went to all public schools, when you're in school, your classroom is based on time. Every class is 45 minutes or whatever it is, okay? But you're really not thinking about it because someone else is managing your time, the teacher, the principal, whoever. But as an adult, one of the biggest responsibilities you have is the managing of your time. And one way that people fail in the system is they don't manage their time. They oversleep. What does it mean to manage your time? Waking up by anywhere between 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. If you wake up past 7 a.m., you're never going to beat the system. Why? Because you have already run a deficit. You're in debt with your time. The only time you should be sleeping past 7 a.m. is if you work the night shift. And that's a whole nother cycle. I did the night shift. But those who sleep late will never beat the system. They'll be subject to the system. The system is rules, regulations, and things put in to control the population because they can't control themselves. When you can control yourself, you can beat the system or at least navigate it around it to have maximum freedom in your best life. But it takes discipline. The D word. Laziness is the opposite of discipline. Okay. The management of time is the only way that you're going to be able to beat the system. Now, everyone knows about living below their means. Everyone knows about staying out of debt. But one of the major things, tattoo it on your forehead. You should tattoo a clock on your forehead. Why? Because time is that important during the day. Until you learn how to structure your day, a certain amount for your personal time, a certain amount for work, a certain amount for recreation, a certain amount of time for your hobbies, your interests, your side hustles. Until you understand how to manage the 24-hour clock, you're on a shot clock, you'll never get the most out of your life. And because even within that day, you have to learn how to do things you love so that your life doesn't go past you in your attempt to reach your goals. Example, at this point in my life, every day, there's about a half hour to 40 minutes allocated to swimming in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. In the evening, between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m., I go fully submerged. That way, every day that passes by, even if I can't retire early, I'm living my dream, which is pretty much to be by the ocean and to swim in it, to be in it, okay? Not to look out of a window. Okay. The management of time, huge. Setting daily goals. Well, guys, that's part of the time management, setting goals. But all goals have to be broken down into small steps. Like I've told some people in here, day trading. Like there's 250 days that you can day trade. See, if you were into that game, okay, and you got to be careful with that game because you could lose more money than you make. You have to roll. There's not 365 days to trade stocks. There's 250 because you don't trade stocks on the weekend for most people. There's holidays, etc. So if you took 250 days and if you had your own business, same thing. Why? Because you don't want to set goals that you're going to work 7 days a week because now you've structured a life where you're never going to enjoy life. Okay. Whether you're cleaning houses, trading stocks, or walking dogs, you have to break it down to small, specific steps. What's the difference between a fat chick making a cake and an in-shape chick making a cake? She measures the ingredients. I'll tell you right now, when my mom cooks chicken, I got to be careful because she puts too much barbecue sauce on it. Why? She's not measuring it. Okay. She's got diabetes. I'll tell you right now, if you don't measure the ingredients in your cake, you're going to be overweight. If you don't look at the food labels, you're going to be overweight. Why? Because, guys, you have to look at the numbers. Okay. Because there's an imaginary world in your mind and there's reality in this earth, and you have to try to marry the two to beat the system. Beating the system is living your best life, not an average life, not a sedated life. Okay. You want to get the most out of your life. Less depression that way, less suffering that way, more enjoyment that way. That's the main reason why none of us are getting out of here alive. None of us are taking money with us. So forget about that fantasy, but you want to live the best life possible. Why? Less suffering. Okay. That's how I convince myself to keep pushing forward, to have goals, to keep going. Goals change. Life changes. I have different ways I look at life now at the age of 40 than I did at the age of 20. But goals have to be measured. Okay? Just saying you want to retire early or have a business is not sufficient. Why? How many houses would you need to clean to make $50,000 a year? Well, how much do you get paid per house? Okay. I know someone on disability right now, they clean houses on the side. How much do they get? Almost $100, a little bit less. Let's say they got $100. Okay. Or do you make $100 every house you clean? No. Why? Because you have cleaning products. Okay. So now I have to take $100, maybe minus $10 per cleaning. Psychopaths, you can shop at the Dollar Tree, get $10 worth of cleanings per house. Now you're down to $90. Okay. How many hours does it take to clean a house? Okay. But if you could do 2 houses a day or one, that's anywhere between $90 to $180 a day. Okay. If you did $90 a day, guys, what's 90 times 250? 250 is the amount of days, work days. If you minus holidays, if you minus weekends, because you don't want to work 7 days a week. I know some people who did DoorDash like that. They would work 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, and they would claim they're making $50,000 a year. Yeah, guys, you're basically not living life. You're just delivering food. Now, I know some people, they do 2 deliveries a week, and then they'd be tired. So, you got to find what you want to do, what your goals are, what are your averages. 250 work days in a 365-day calendar year times 90, if you cleaned 1 house per day and you made $90 net, that's $22,000 a year. Okay. So like I say, if you can double that, if you can clean 2 houses a day and you can net 180, that's $45,000 a year. That's almost the average salary in America. Can you clean 2 houses per day? Can you market yourself? Can you build up consistently clientele? If you're trading stocks, can you make $90 a day? I always tell my day traders, be careful, just make it to 4 p.m. in the positive. Why? Because when you're in that game, you have to mitigate risk and just not lose money. Anything you can gain is plus because it's a high risk game. Don't make day trading your main hustle till you have 3 years of positive tax returns that you can prove you make money on a consistent yearly basis. Okay. There's a reason Trump hasn't shown his tax returns. Why? Because guys, it's just all about write-offs, not net profit for him. Why? Because he's in a different realm, guys. Borrowing money, inheriting money, different realm. He's trying to beat the system in different ways. Okay. I'm not saying that's right or wrong because look, guys, but for me, I'm talking about within the confines of the rules for the average person. Okay. Some people aren't beating the system. They're losing in life, and Donald Trump is the only way they'll even touch a little bit of success. I know some psychopaths that kept saying, oh, Donald Trump is in. Are you tired of winning it? Are you tired of winning? Well, 40 million Americans unemployed, 150 dead, and America's worse than ever. Are you tired of winning? Donald Trump destroyed America. Convince the psychopaths that never had a victory in their life. They were always backup quarterbacks. They were always second string people. They convinced them that they can feel winning through Donald Trump. What's winning to you? Okay. Is winning just money? For some people it is. That's a shame. Money's part of it. Is winning your health? Do you take care of yourself? Do you eat well? Is winning managing your time? Do you manage your time well? Is winning healthy relationships? Are you happy because Donald Trump won the election, but your own children don't want to talk to you? You lost. You lost. You lost. You're a loser. Because guess what, guys? All that other stuff matters. Okay. We're talking about your best life. Okay. Beating the system. Okay. In a good way. Okay. Healthy way. Positive way. Because you don't want to gain the world and lose your soul. You have a right to earn an income. You have a right to make it members only chat. Why? Because it's legal, it's proper, and it's a business. Okay. And the trolls hate it. Why? Because they're the opposite of that. Best thing you can do, guys, boundaries. You don't beat the system with a psychopath on your side. Never forget it. Never forget it. You don't beat the system by not paying child support. You don't beat the system by blaming your ex. You beat the system by taking care of your responsibilities, having personal boundaries, and being efficient and effective with your time and your resources. Financially, physically, emotionally, every way. That's how you get sharp. And that's how progressively over time you get better. A lot of failure, a lot of bad days, but a lot of overcoming, a lot of grace of God. Okay. Because God blesses those who have not just faith, but works. Because we know that faith without works is dead. We know that, right? Juliana, I see you joined last night. Great topic. Thank you, Juliana. Appreciate you. Love to you. Got the other profile working good. Keep pushing forward. Thank you to all my members. I appreciate you. 33 cents a day. I broke it. $9.99 a month equals 33 cents a day. And you can cancel at any time. I think that's good. Why? Because you got to have freedom. And you got to have boundaries, and you got to measure your goals, and you got to respect your time. Because when your time matters to you, it matters to other people. But there's some people don't respect their own time. They wake up late. They don't put any value on their time. And so they don't put any value on their relationships. And then their relationships drag them further down to the hole of depression, low self-esteem, low character, and a low life. And so look, guys, are you still going to have bad days? No doubt. If you beat the system, if you retire early, if you're healthy, if you have good relationships, is life perfect? No way. Why? Because, guys, look, this world is not, the world's on a tilt. Earth is on a tilt, rotating around the sun. It's not even straight. And what you're trying to do is navigate the rules, the regulations in a legal way to live a life more on your terms, to live a more freeing life, more inspired life, more passionate life, to things that matter to you. Maybe you want to be in the mountains. Maybe you want to be by the beach. Maybe you want to be married with 2 kids. Maybe you want to be single in a Dodge ProMaster 1500. Maybe you want a small shack in Kentucky. You have to figure that out. But you only figure it out, okay, through getting shit in order. Measuring your goals, being specific with your time, specific with your money. Doing some things you don't want to do. Many people fail in trying to beat the system and they refuse to work. Your dreams don't work if you don't work. Your dreams don't work if you don't work. Like I said, guys, I know people right now on disability, they're cleaning houses. They're getting $100 a house. Why are they in disability, hey guys? That's a whole nother scam. Okay. But the Federal Reserve prints money. $7 trillion went to Wall Street in 7 weeks. That's the biggest scam going. That's the biggest scam going. These conservatives, they love it. They love when we bail out the stock market. We socialize the shit out of the stock market. I'll tell you. Forget cutting food stamps. Let's cut the Federal Reserve from printing money. But let's not do that. Why? Because it's a big game anyway. It's a game, guys. Just to control the population. That's okay. You have to control the population. You don't want to live in a place where there's no control. Guys, that's a disaster. So you want to get away from the mindset, again, that the system itself is evil. Guys, every place in the world has a system. And places where there aren't a system, there's chaos. There's anarchy. There's some people that are anarchist. There's some people that are brute authoritarian leaders. They got to dominate. There's a whole mix in between. Don't get caught in the BS. Okay. My greed. Beating the system when you have debt is to send the biggest payment you can. Well, yeah, look, debt's a big obstacle, okay? And society's structured where you go into college is now meaningless, okay? Even Donald Trump signed something in the law that basically he's going to encourage employers to look more at your work history than your educational history. So what happened to the whole generation that got sold? You got to have a college degree. They just got debt. And they didn't get bailed out like Wall Street. They can't bankrupt that debt because college loan debt is the only debt that's unbankruptable in America. Okay. Donald Trump went bankrupt 6 times. Okay. So if he went bankrupt 6 times for casinos that steal money from the working class, shit, you should be able to bankrupt your college loan debt. You try to do something positive in society. But you should never pay to educate a fool. I don't believe in college for everyone. Because I believe some people barely get out of high school. You don't want to give them more education. You know, guys, you should have a choice when you get out of high school. Okay. You want to go to college? You got to have a certain amount of grades to go there. Okay. As far as like it being free. If not, you go to trade school. If not, you enlist in the army. If not, you do some type of community service. Okay. And then you can build a career based on there. But not everyone's meant for college. Not everyone's meant for construction. Not everyone's meant for the service. Not everyone's meant for community service. You have to figure your life out. Beating the system is living with low commitment until you kind of figure out who you are, and that takes time. See, the system's designed now, like getting a college loan debt, buy a car, then buy a house, then have a kid. Then before you know it, you're 35, you got 2 kids, you got a mortgage, you got 2 cars, and you're listening to Dave Ramsey. You say, oh, shit. And Dave Ramsey kind of strict, okay? And he went bankrupt too. Don't forget that. He bankrupt millions. Now he's worth millions. He knew how to play the system. See, a lot of these rich conservative pricks, they played the system, okay? And then you call them up. You're 35. You're buried in the system. You call them up. He said, Dave Ramsey, should I go bankrupt? Well, that's the last means of resort. And he also tells people to have kids no matter what their financial situation. No, don't have a kid. Get an abortion. Get an abortion. Why? Because if you can't afford a kid, it's not a blessing. That's what I tell you. Yep. Dave Ramsey won't tell you that. Dave Ramsey have you have a kid in poverty and say that's great. I don't think so. I don't. I agree. There are too many colleges in general and too many kids in general. I agree with both those statements. Look, guys, the reason that colleges are plentiful is because it's changing now. It's changing now. The reason colleges are plentiful is because there was big business. Okay, big business. And the reason that, like, there was a lot of people that were psychopaths. They got accepted to a school, and they said, "Oh, I got accepted." Yeah, guys, if I was the dean, I would accept everyone too. Why you got to pay them money? That's like saying, "Oh, send me your resume before you sign up." Guys, you're gonna get in. Why? I want your money. Come on, guys. That's how it goes. Frank Breeze dropped the mic. So, guys, look. Everything in life is about everything you buy should have a purpose and a meaning, including college, including whatever you're doing, entertainment, information. It should have a purpose in your life. Okay. And the purpose should be not just to escape reality. Now, that would fall under the category of entertainment. Now, even though sometimes it'd be entertaining, to me, I hope to be more informational than entertaining. Why? Because I hope to more spark something that will actually change your life and help you to change your own life rather than just entertain you. But you need both. And entertainment's a blessing. Laughter's a blessing. But value in information and consciousness and self-awareness is a blessing to you, okay? So it gives back something to you, not just takes from you. Okay. Like, what was another one of Trump's business ventures that failed? Trump University. People went and they said, we didn't learn shit. I think people learn more from my videos. Trump University is like Cardone University. Grant Cardone is a guy who tells psychopaths, yeah, you can own a $5 million apartment complex. Just come down to Miami and do the 10X program. Guys, not everyone should do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Thank you, Frank. So like I tell you guys, look, you got to keep your commitments low. You got to get out of commitments that are overwhelming and burdensome, and that's going to take some work, going to take some years. Whatever you can't get out of, make the most of. And structure your day within a manner that you can make progress. And sometimes making progress is saying, look, I spend an hour with my mother. I spend an hour at the beach. I spend an hour on YouTube. I spend 7 sleeping. I spend 8 working. Good evening, Aaron. Love to you, brother. Whatever it is for you. But you got to have goals. Okay. Or you at least have to be conscious of what you're trying to do in life. Because there's a time in life just to sail. Okay, let the winds carry you. But in my view, I think you have to do a lot of rowing. You have to do a lot of intentionally steering of your ship. And then once you really get going in a good direction, there's times in the day where you can let your foot off the pedal and coast. But coasting and sailing is for when you've already established a course, you're on the course, and you can relax. There's a lot of work that goes into that. There's a lot of work that goes into picking out what you want to eat. You know, when you're stressed out, you want to eat whatever's quick and whatever's cheap. And that's a trap. You ain't going to beat the system like that. Because again, we're not talking about just beating the system financially. You're talking about well life, less suffering life. Okay. Less suffering. That's the sales pitch. What's the sales pitch? Your best life means less suffering. And that's the best sales pitch I can give you. Aaron. Juliana, I've put your membership under entertainment. Under an entertainment line on them in the budget. But the information emoji, I've learned from your videos priceless. Good. Halfway to saving my full emergency fund. Well, thank you, Julianne. Love to you. Love to Australia. Well, I appreciate that. And I share with you guys, Gangster Talk, $4.99 Super Chat. Trump says college isn't everything. Yet he created overpriced, overvalued Trump University. I totally agree. Love to Gangster Talk. Yeah, I talked about. Yeah, look, guys. Trump is a disgraceful man. Even the other day, you see he posted a video of old people in a retirement community, the Villages in Florida, and one of them screaming white power. Okay. He's worried about people tearing down the statues. Guys, Trump is the ultimate statue that needs to be teared down. Okay. He's a disgraceful man, horrible human being, bad businessman, bad person. And some people look up to him. Not me. And that's why I didn't vote for him. You know, look, I often say, like, I heard a mafia guy say, okay, this was a killer, a guy who scammed millions from the government. Mafia guy, okay? Italian. A lot of Italians that ain't worth shit, okay? Here's a guy, he says, oh, I can't vote for Biden, okay? He goes, you know, at least Donald Trump, he's got something to... Guys, am I going to take advice from a mafia guy who killed others, who robbed the government, and he says Biden don't have what it takes? Guys, Trump destroyed America. Okay. And if Trump was in office when the Italians were migrating over here, you'd be the MS-8. You'd be the MS-8 gang. You'd be the people he's trying to keep out of America. So there's a lot of hypocrites in the country on all sides. Because I block all people. I've blocked white, black, Asian, psychopaths of transgenders. All different types. Why? Bad mindset. Bad people. You ain't gonna beat the system with bad people in your life. No way. No way. Why? Because, guys, they're gonna get you trapped in the system. A mafia guy that tried to beat the system, that got incarcerated, you know who locked him up? You know who locked this guy up? Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani was the New York prosecutor before he became the mayor of New York, and then now he's like Trump's right-hand man lawyer. Okay. So look, guys, it's all a game. Okay. But you damn sure ain't going to beat the system by masturbating to politics. Okay. Learn them, vote, get involved, reform the system. I believe in reform, but there's always going to be something else. There was reform needed under Obama. There was reform needed under Clinton. There was reform needed under Bush, under Trump. I believe America was better under Clinton, better under Obama. No doubt. No doubt. I mean, that's fact. I lived through it. But for people who have no life, the politics are their life. Don't get caught in that system. Don't get caught in that system. Pay attention to your life. The best thing you can do to impact society, to make the system better, is you live better. Don't break the rules. Navigate through them to your best life. You know, lawyers, that's all their job is. You think about that. What's a prosecutor and what's a defendant? Giuliano says, what's your opinion with relationships with China at the moment? Things are getting tense and with America and Australia. Well, look, China is a rising power, and their rising power is fine, because we can't say that we want other countries to be less than America, because that world domination view eventually comes back to bite us in the ass, because you don't want countries turning destitute, because that's what breeds terrorism, violence, and it spills over into America. Whether it was with Germany during World War II, whether it was with Afghanistan after we left there, after they beat the Russians, or whatever, it always comes back to you. You want the global community to overall push forward together somewhat. So you don't want China to be destitute. And the reason China grew was because Wall Street outsourced your job. Why? Because capitalism itself built China. Why? Because what's the definition of capitalism? That corporations or companies operate solely for a profit. That's it. The shareholder is greater than society. So there's a reason that in America, 80% of our drugs come from China. Why? Because they're cheaper to make. Why? Because that's how capitalism works. If we were really a country that cared about its people, we said, no, well, we're not going to make them in China. We're going to make them here. Or whatever. I mean, but at the same time, where we're at is, look, guys, world, whether you live in Australia, China, the UK, we are humans. And the next future leaders have to have a global society. See, what happened was the people in America, specifically, who were in unions and had pensions, they all turned conservative, okay? Because what they did was they got nervous and scared that America's changing. The demographic, the racial demographic, the age demographic, the baby boomers are dying, and Trump is one of them. And so what's happening, guys, is the country is going to be different in 20 years. We're going to be a global community, a more diverse, more robot, animated technology. And some of the older generation, it's a generational shift. They don't understand it, they don't like it, and they think they can go backwards. That's why that whole slogan, Make America Great Again, was we're going to go back to the Industrial Revolution. That's over. We're in a technology revolution, okay? That's a global, interconnected community where each country has to figure out how to ensure the well-being of their own country while working with all the other countries, because whether it's a pandemic or technology patents or whatever it is, or making our goods cheaper. The reason you're able to shop at the Dollar Tree is because they're made in China. There's some people who are protesting certain conditions in America for certain oppressions, and they should. However, guys, just remember, every time you buy something cheap in China, it's made with almost slave labor. The iPhone itself is made in a place in China where they have nets around the building because people commit suicide. Why? Because the conditions are so harsh and brutal on the workers that they get burnt out and they commit suicide. Why do we support that? Because we're capitalist. What are capitalists? Capitalists are, it's cheaper to make the iPhone there. We should never negotiate with China about a trade deal. Why? We should go directly to to the CEO of Apple. And we said, look, you can't make the iPhones there. Or if the ones you're going to make in China have to be sold in China. And the ones you sell in America have to be made in America. Not because we want China to suffer, but unless we're going to have a global minimum wage with global work standards, and that's probably the better answer, then every time we allow Apple, a publicly traded corporation, to make their phones in China for probably less than $100 and sell them here for $1,200, what we're doing is we're supporting slave labor. But see, Trump tried to act like he was changing it. He wasn't changing it because one is he was talking about farmers. Farmers get subsidized by the government. And two is you don't talk to China about that. You talk to Apple. And you make a rule. You work with Congress. You set a law. And you say, these are the work rules that Apple company and every other American company have to abide by. That's it. You don't have to go to China. So that was a whole switch and bait. Because there was never a plan to make the corporations have to actually have fair worker pay globally. Why? Because corporations are the biggest social welfare queens. They lobby the government to pass the rules that make the system. Okay. Not all corporations are evil. Okay. But we are getting to a place in the history of humanity that all countries have to have a standard of living, a standard of workers' compensation, or else you're never going to have fair trade deals. And we have to learn to respect other cultures and not build walls, build bridges. Because a wall is only going to get you so far. I'm not saying a wall may not be needed, but a wall inflames division. Okay. And so the way to beat the system, like before Donald Trump got elected, what he says was he would donate to everyone. He said he would donate to everyone, Republicans and Democrats. Why? He said because he knew that as a businessman, you have to get along with everyone. And people like that. People thought he would use that, because there was a lot of times he was Democratic. He would use that mindset to maybe go both ways, but he didn't. He became very rigid and pandered to his base. But that mindset was right, that look, for the greater good of your purpose, you have to get along with all people. China, Afghanistan, Israel, Australia, UK. You're not going to make everyone happy. Everyone's not going to get along, but your mindset has to be, you have to work together for the overall good of humanity. And Joaquin, where is the best place to submerge my body in New Jersey? I'm stuck in NY. I need to find the blessed water in New Jersey. Well, I would say you got to get to at least central Jersey. I would say start at Spring Lake Beach, just south of Belmar Beach, and then just work your way down the coast. But anything north of Belmar Beach is pretty much a shithole. That's what I'll tell you, in my opinion. So I would say go to Spring Lake Beach, right south of Belmar Beach, and then just keep going south all the way to Cape May, and then just go up and down the coast. That's what I'll tell you, NYCam. Love to you. Let's go back to our live comments. Juliana says, speaking the iPhone, when joining your membership, click the link in the description box. Then click the 3 dots in the top right corner. Choose desktop view. Well, damn it, Juliana. Thank you for that information. I appreciate that. Love to you, Juliana. Thank you for breaking it down. Jesse O, first ever member. It's amazing how we humans pretend like we have no control over corporations. There is a human behind every corporation. You're damn right. And I've worked for corporations. Okay. And they were a blessing. Some of the worst people you work for is small business. Why? Because they're the cheapest. They don't pay benefits. And, so it's not about just small business. I'm not anti-corporation. Most corporations kind of agree that we need a universal basic income, a universal health care. Even Elon Musk has said that. So look, the future is definitely going to be, we're going to treat Main Street just like Wall Street, which is we have to subsidize it. Because technology eliminating certain jobs, and that's good. Why? Because the next step in the human evolution is going to be, you're going to be more than just digging a ditch. You're going to be more than just laying pipe. Now, there's always going to be a need for that. And there's going to be a need to figure out what a lot of people are going to do with their time. Because a lot of people aren't going to be doing certain jobs. And that's why the future may be YouTube. The future may be memberships. Why? Because people need to know that the management of their time is going to be more important than ever. Guys, during the quarantine, I made a video and say, how are you going to survive the quarantine? By the management of your time. The management of your day. Because what happens is, the more time you have on your hands, the more depression, the more buying crap that you don't need, the more overeating, the more texting people you don't like, really. If you can learn to manage your time and put value on it and put direction to your energy, you can beat the system. You are your biggest enemy, not the corporations, not Trump. You. You know, your addictions, your habits, your wasting of energy, your wasting of time, your wasting of money. Get in control of yourself. Not overtrading, not getting greedy, not being lazy. The controlling of yourself is a big part of beating the system. Learning to say no to yourself. That's not easy. That's almost a all year, a lifetime long journey. That even me sometimes I say, oh shit, I failed here again. And so, you know, that's part of the process. Love to you, Jesse. That's a good comment, Juliano. Then it's easy to click the join button. Well, thank you for breaking that down. I didn't even think of that. Thank you, Juliano, for all your love. And thank you, NY Cam. Thank you, Gangster Talk. Jesse O. Once robots take over, I'm scared that we will pretend like we can't control them. Well, that may come into play. You know, I think it'll be good to have a robot spouse, robot children, robot pets. I think less maintenance. I'd rather take my spouse to get an oil change than take them to go shopping. Not because I'm cheap, even though I am cheap, just because I want to be able to turn the robot off. You can never turn your child off. You can never turn your dog off. You can never turn other things. You know, like what I love about the memberships is you can turn me off. What I love about YouTube is you can turn me off. You have control. I have control. When you're in a relationship, someone asked me today on one of my videos, some guy, young kid, nice guy. He said, one of my friends is always getting all the girls. I'm jealous of him. And I'm like, and I told him like, oh, I wish I was you. And he said to me, you don't want to be me. You wish you were me, but it's not all that it seems. And he goes, Sam, what does that mean? I go, what that means is relationships are work and stress. So do you like work and stress? I don't. I think most people are lazy. You know, I have to push myself. By human default, we're all lazy. Now, again, some people more high energy than others, but I got to push myself every day. That's why when you see me getting worked up, when you see me be exciting, that's me pushing myself to do what I need to do. So true. Let's continue. Jesse says, will robots be the new corporations? You know, when I think of robots, I don't think of like short circuit, like a R2D2 or whatever it is. I don't think about a physical robot. I think about an algorithm that directs you in a certain way. Example, you're looking at YouTube and the algorithm recommends certain channels. Example, you're looking on Amazon.com and the algorithm recommends a certain product. That's fine because it may streamline what you want to do, but you have to be conscious that you are making your decisions, not an algorithm. When you're going to make a trade, sometimes the trade is seductive because the algorithm's trying to suck people in, okay? There's certain bets that are getting taken out Uh, because they have eyes on them because you can see a stop loss. Okay. Behind every stop loss order, there's an algorithm trying to eat it up. So those algorithms, whether they're on Amazon.com, YouTube, or Fidelity.com, or whatever, those algorithms are directing your life. So the way you beat the system is you direct your life, but the only way you do that is if you can control yourself. Self-control leads to godliness, and that's not easy. You fail. It's like a useless goal. Let me explain. Like, we're guaranteed we're going to fail as humans, myself included, and I still do. Sometimes daily, sometimes weekly. But what I try to do is fail less. What I try to do is get better. Not perfect, no such thing. What I try to do is not eat unhealthy food. So, you still may overeat, but I try not to eat the unhealthiest. Okay? I try to make a healthier decision, a better decision. Less risk, more reward. Like some people say high risk, high reward, but high risk, high loss. So you want to mitigate risk, and even if you can incrementally win each day, you have sanity and you have consistency. This is learning to control yourself. This is learning to beat the system. See, a lot of people who are trying to beat the system, they're trying to hit a home run every day. And that's not sustainable. Even if it's possible for a day, 2 days, 3 days, it's not sustainable for a lifetime. So to beat the system, what you have to do is create a lifestyle of eating habits, not a diet, not a fast, not intermittent fasting. You have to create a lifestyle, not the keto diet. I know a lot of fat psychopaths destroyed their life thinking the keto diet was going to help them. Well, they're not going to help you. Why? Because the keto diet is eating all fats. If you think that's the answer to a healthier life, guys, come on. And then you throw some good-looking person that's in shape that doesn't eat all keto. You throw them as the salesperson. You sign up for the keto diet. The best diet is reading the food labels. The best diet is going for a walk. The best diet is drinking more water. Let's take a hydration break. Go back to all live comments. Juliana, idle time is definitely the devil's playground. 100 emoji. Budget your time. Management of your time is key to beat the system. And have a line item for each activity. Yep, I'm under entertainment right now with a little bit of information. Creating self-boundaries is a must. Damn it, Juliana, you're on fire tonight. Self-respect. When you manage your time, what you're doing is respecting yourself. And the standard you use for yourself is what other people see. So, like, I don't demand other people put the energy into me or the time or the money into me that I put into myself. I just say if they don't, I'm not going to deal with it. Okay. But I don't look to control other people. I look to control myself. That's where many people fail. They're trying to control other people. They're trying to make people respect them. They're trying to make people buy stuff from them. What I found in life is the best sales pitch, the best way is just to be your best self. Because there's an automatic aura. There's an automatic attraction to someone who is focused on bettering themselves. Because that's everyone's end goal. Even if they haven't realized it yet. But there's a big pitfall where we're trying to change someone else to make them better, or to justify ourselves. You don't want to get in the game of justifying yourself. Oh, I'm better than my ex. I didn't raise my children like that. Oh, I didn't. My boss didn't. Look, you got to vent. I vent sometimes. I have a couple people in my life I may vent to. I vent sometimes on here. I consider that. But many portion of the day, I'm taking it in the ass. Not literally, guys. Figuratively. I know some of you guys get excited with that. What does that mean? Well, sometimes when someone's giving me attitude on the road, if they cut me off, or if someone's taking a long time online in front of me, or if someone's parking too close to me, or if someone's being nasty, or if someone's just an asshole and playing their music too loud, throwing trash everywhere, me not partaking in that in that unnecessary, unhealthy behavior and controlling myself from not getting angry and not engaging them at that level is that self-control that helps me beat the system. Because guys, I could be a successful businessman. I could do everything right with my time. I can make all the right moves, be a millionaire, have a nice sales pitch. But if someone in front of me is taking too long and I start an argument, I could destroy my life. If someone cuts me off and I follow them down the street, I could destroy my life. If someone hollers at a seagull and I start to holler at them, I can destroy my life. Avoiding conflict is the only way you beat the system. If you don't avoid conflict, you're going to end up in the system behind bars. So be careful. Mike Reed, Sam, I used to watch Hobo Alley. She was hot. I watched her a few times, but I couldn't stomach it anymore. When she went to live in an apartment is when YouTube offered me your channel. Okay. To watch an algorithm at work, baby. Well, I'm not mad at that. Well, I may not look as good as Hobo Alley, but to some of you gay guys, I look better. But Hobo Alley is a younger Asian girl. I think she's half Asian. She's from Texas. She used to live in her van. I don't think she ever lived in her van. I did a video about it. But she has a good hustle. But she's not consistent. She's not consistent at all on YouTube. But she's young. I'm not going to blame her. If I was her age, I don't know if I'd be as disciplined as I am now. So one way that I had to correct some of my behaviors, there was one day I was trolling Bob Wells. And I was leaving comments on his channel that were like disagreeing with him. And then I remember I got into a debate with one of his viewers. And even though I totally think I was right, they were wrong, I remember the thing the viewer said to me, she was totally right on this one thing. She said, well, look, bottom line is if you don't like the channel, why are you here? And when she said that, I said, you know what? She's 100% right. I was directing my time and my energy to a useless, unproductive purpose. Therefore, I was trapped in the system. I was wasting time, wasting energy. I mean, not a lot. I'm talking about, a few minutes here and there. But that's valuable. Like Juliana says, you line on them things. Some things are entertainment. Some things are information. Some things are, inspiration, motivational. Sometimes you need a push. But you should never have a line item for this is useless bullshit. We put that on a t-shirt some way. Because Juliano's nailing it where, look, you have to have flexibility in life. Meaning that, look, you can't put a line item for everything in life. Okay? You got to have some flexibility. And that's why you live simple, so you can change your mind a little bit. You can spend a little bit more here. You can spend a little bit more time with this or with that. But the line item is good because you need some type of boundary, some type of structure, some type of direction. Without that, you're cooking a cake without any directions. Yeah, you can make it taste good, and there may be some type of rhythm to that, but it's a dangerous decision. Sabrina, been praying for you and your health, Sabrina. I was thinking about you the other day. I read your comment. I know you're struggling a little bit. Sabrina's 50. Mike Reed will get back to it. Sabrina's 50. She's struggling with her health. And that's a lot of this video about beating the system has been about, like most of my videos are about mind, body, soul, and finances. Because again, you're not going to beat the system if you're a millionaire, but you don't feel good. Physically and mentally. A lot of my videos are about taking care of your mental and emotional health. Why? Because, guys, every day is a battle. Love to you, Sabrina. Back to Mike Reed. Sam. Oh, yeah, I read that. Sam, I like Bob Wells, but the more he talks about solar, he loves solar, man. The more I'm confused. Yep. What I tell you is you don't need much solar. Your car is a generator. Every time you start your car, you have a generator. You can charge your inverter, you can charge your electronics, and you can run a fan. A solar, 99% of all solar systems on a van or RV are not going to allow you to run air conditioning. Okay? And if they are, it's going to be for a limited time and you're going to spend thousands of dollars. So just remember, a solar charges electronics and a fan. And for most of that, you can get the Goal Zero Yeti inverter, and you can use your cigarette lighter to charge that during the day, or a variety of different things. So solar is an overhyped thing. It has some value. It does have value, but you have to really cost-effective weigh it out, because it could be a trap. The consumerism trap. Again, 70% of the U.S. economy is based on consumerism. What is that? Well, that's you saying, okay, I want to be a nomad because I want to beat the system. I don't want to have rent. I don't want to have a mortgage. So then you go to an RV dealership. You buy a Winnebago Travato for $80,000. You get $5,000 worth of solar. And, you are burning $5,000 worth of gas per year. So now you got $90,000 worth of expenses. You're not beating the system. You're in a depreciating asset. Now, again, if that's below your means, I'm not mad at you. But you have to realize that the RV system itself is not beating the system, because you can easily get into the RV lifestyle or the van lifestyle, not be cost effective, and not financially beat the system. However, if it's below your means and you want to live that, then then that's your best life. Because you're not, also what I have to be conscious of, if you live in your car and you're debt free, but you're risking too much of your money and losing it, you're spending it a different way. So that a point in my journey, I had to balance out, well, Sam, if I'm doing all this sacrificing, I have to mitigate some of my risk, because, everyone spends their money differently. And again, learning to control yourself with your money, with your eating habits, with your time, with your attention. Who gets your attention? Is it someone who respects reciprocal? Do they put as much energy into you as you put into them? Like I always tell you, one time I got destroyed emotionally. I was texting this girl like a long thing, and she would text me back one letter K. Like I tell people, guys, for me, when people leave a comment or when I do the live responses, I put an energy and effort. I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about the response. I'm giving their respect of sincere thought. Okay. Not say, oh, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay. And some YouTube creators, they treat them as, whatever. And that's why I do value my time. And that's why I feel, for me, justified in the membership, because if I'm putting that much energy into something, the reciprocalness has got to be there in both ways for you too. Okay. Why? Because you have to get something. There's nothing selfish saying, I'm not getting enough out of this relationship. But then you have to change something. So sometimes, like, we feel ashamed to say, I'm not getting enough out of this. But I'm talking about you. You say this to yourself. Am I getting enough out of this? And for whatever that is, including me, if it's not enough out of it, then you have the right to change your life. Because you have to learn to set standards for some type of reciprocal response in energy and effort in whatever it is that you're going to measure it by. And everything has a season. But self-respect and standards for yourself is a good thing. Now, don't force those on other people. Because again, beating the system is about beating the best out of yourself. And, I say that tongue in cheek because I'm not talking about beating yourself. But there's a level of being real with yourself, of disciplining yourself, that you have to get to in life to get the best out of yourself. Like I struggle with the Bill Parcells, the Donald Trump type people that they think getting the best out of someone is hollering at them. Like I know I'm raising my voice now, and I know I'm not a Joel Osteen, but this is more centered at summoning up motions to get the best out of myself and the message and the time here. And I think people get that. Let's continue. Sabrina, love to you. Mike, worst thing in the world to be in a first world country that has the most expensive healthcare. Well, that's true. Look, Obama tried to change that, got crucified for it. Trump gave corporations a tax break. He got praised for it. So, and at the end of the day, we spent more money bailing out corporations these past 2 months than we did for healthcare under Obamacare. So, bottom line is, America is the last first world country that doesn't have universal healthcare. And the people who get squeezed are the middle class. Why? Because if you're very poor, you get Medicare? No. Medicaid. If you're very poor, you get Medicaid. If you're above 65, you get Medicare. Okay. But if you're in the middle and if you lose your job, and which I have, and you have to pay for your own health insurance, which I have, it's like it could be $500 a month easy. So the regular person who isn't very poor, isn't very old, you're screwed. And that's a tragedy. It really is. And look, if we're the wealthiest country in the world, our people should be taken care of the best. But in some instances, they're not. In some instances, they are. Again, look, guys, we're very blessed too. I don't want to start to say that we're not blessed and we don't have many privileges and blessings in America. I understand that's all relative because I've visited many parts of America and it's relative. But you have to change your life. Because like I tell you guys, look, I'm one of 3 siblings. I am the only sibling that works. I'm the only sibling that's not on government assistance. I'm the only sibling that's not on drugs. So, look, some of it is individual accountability. Some of it you're just born with a certain personality. Some of it is the system getting caught in it. Some of it's self-awareness. It's a balance of things. Giuliano, I watched the Forks Over Knives documentary. Good job. That's one documentary that changed my life. Forks Over Knives. A plant-based diet has so many benefits. Amen. I got a little bit off track on that, but that's my foundation. That brings me back to, even if you're going to mix in a little bit of fish, a little bit of chicken, a 90% plant-based diet is a healthier you. Maybe beans, rice and beans, and not just for Dave Ramsey. Debt reducing, I totally agree. And if you're going to do rice, try to do brown rice. But low sodium beans too. I get the low sodium red Goya beans. Sodium is salt, and you want no more than 2,300 milligrams per day. Just go. Yeah, they offer you Cobra. I paid for that. That's a disaster. Cobra Insurance is like a self-insured program that you can do if you lose your job, but it's very expensive. And Jesse says, yeah, they offer you Cobra Insurance for almost, $600 a month for a single person. I rejected it and took my chances. I understand that too. Hey, you know what happens? Hey, guys, it's the number one cause of bankruptcy because it's like you got to take a chance. You roll the dice. It's a shame because, look, I honestly feel as someone who's owned a small business, and even YouTube is considered a small business because you're a 1099 independent contractor just like DoorDash, is that if everyone in America knew they had health insurance like every other first world country, there'd be more small businesses. Why? Because as a small business owner, I can tell you that's the number one concern you have is you don't have health insurance. And that will make you close your small business. Because and that will also prevent you from hiring people. Because the number one concern you have when you hire someone is, can I afford them paying them insurance? And even if you're not going to pay them health insurance, you have to pay them workman's comp, etc. into the system. So in some ways, the system is designed against you starting a business and allowing big business to run shit. So, look, but it's going to take some effort to live your best life, guys. And that's where most people will never be able to beat the system because they're in the lazy mode. You don't have to work but where you can also get trapped, though, is thinking if you just work like an animal, you're going to beat the system. But then you don't manage your time, you don't enjoy the day, you don't learn how to slow down. Because I've also done that, where I was working 2-3 jobs, burning myself out, working on the weekends, and I couldn't even tell you the last time I was at the Atlantic Ocean when I was in that mode. Now, I was acquiring too, I was consuming a lot too, that was my problem. So yeah, you have to balance your budget, you have to balance your time, you have to balance your objectives. It can't be all about money. It can't be all about entertainment. It can't be all about studying. It's got to be a balance. It's got to be some entertainment. It's got to be some education. It's got to be some work. It's got to be a balance of things. Now, balance is individual because we all have an individual fingerprint. Okay? But at the core of a lot of these videos is starting to understand yourself and ask yourself these questions to get self-aware, self-conscious, so that you can direct yourself. Juliana, I'm down to eating egg whites. Good job. And fish. I like where you're going. Fish emoji. With lots of vegetables. I love it. a small amount of fruit, no processed oil or fat, you're on the right track. Excellent, excellent foundational food. You feel better when you eat better. I know every time like I slip up and I start to eat stuff that's not as good as it could be, my energy levels go down. And I need my energy to do all the things I want to do. Believe it or not, guys, there's some people that don't go to the beach because it's too much effort to park at the beach, walk to the ocean, go in the ocean, walk, wash off all the sand, get changed, and get back in their car. That's true. Forget about going to work. Forget about doing their laundry. Forget about starting a business. Just going to the beach is overwhelming. Just waking up is overwhelming. And I understand it. I understand the mental blanket that's on your mind that you have to push off your mind every day instead of rolling over. It's hard. But that's why I have to get so intense to get to the point of doing stuff. Because really, at the core of beating the system is beating yourself. Because you lie to yourself. You say, let me roll over and sleep a little bit longer. Let me eat something. Now, look, when it comes to eating, like I told you, I've been anorexic and I've been obese. So you can get out of balance there too. There was one point where I wouldn't let myself eat any fatty food. It was just fruits and vegetables. And there's so much discipline there and there's so much rigidness, no flexibility, that I was destroying my life there too, but I never wanted to go back to being obese, to struggling to put my shoes on. And it was the same thing with trading. I was getting too risky and too over trading. So learning to pull yourself in and to say no to yourself and to say yes to yourself. See, like, you have to say no to yourself. You also have to say yes to yourself. Like, you can enjoy yourself a little bit. I struggle with that sometimes. I struggle with that now where I look at, a home base, RV, something more for more comfort. But the reason I still keep saying no is because it's still not better to me. I'm watching a guy now on YouTube who went from RV life to now he's trying to build a tiny home. And he's caught up in all this bureaucracy, all this unhappiness, all this furniture. I don't want furniture, guys. I'm going to do a video, I think, tomorrow about no house equals no furniture. Furniture is a waste of time, waste of energy. It's a casket. A casket is furniture. No, I don't want furniture. But look, I want to beat the system. What's beating the system? Well, you should ask yourself that. For me, it's being financially independent, healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, living in an environment that inspires me, by the beach, by the coast, flat land, not the mountains. I know Juliana had mentioned that too. She don't like climbing the mountains either. She twists her ankle. I don't know, guys. But I just hope to spark something within you that you can pull something out of my videos and you can apply them to your life and put your own twist on them. And hopefully I did that tonight in some way. Thank you to everyone who joined. Thank you, Juliana, my latest member. Thank you, Jesse O. Thank you, Mike Reed. Thank you, Frank Breeze. Thank you, NY Cam, for the super chat. Thank you, Gangster Talk, for the super chat. Thank you, everyone, guys. We're on a journey. We're taking life one day at a time, and we keep pushing forward. God bless.